Kanye West has been on one lately. And unfortunately, it hasn't been one of those positive on ones. In fact, it's been hyper negative. And as you're about to find out, I might be letting the cat out of the bag, but you should know it this early in the video. It cost him his billionaire status. Kanye West, who has been kind of always an eclectic, eccentric type of a dude, out there, if you will. Recently, his out there-ness really transpired among many other things, but the peak of it was some pretty anti-Semitic tweets. I believe he was going DEFCON 3 on the Jews. You can't say that type of thing. And now there was a massive, massive financial backlash. Here's everything you need to know. Adidas ends partnership with Kanye West at a considerable cost. And it's actually a considerable cost to both of them. So this is the big news of the day. Adidas cutting ties with Kanye. But to understand how we get here, let's rewind a couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks ago, Kanye and Gap got into it and they kind of cut each other off. They both blamed the other one. It was kind of like that Spider-Man meme of like, you did it. No, you did it. Like that type of a thing. So it really got the ball rolling there. And then, of course, when anyone cuts a deal with Gap, the first thing you should do is wear a White Lives Matter shirt. Actually doubled down on it, wore it twice, not so good. And then right after that, JP Morgan said it actually had nothing to do with his anti-Semitic tweets, because in between then, that's where he came out with it. He's like, I'm a little bit sleepy. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. And then he said something like kind of super racist. And JP Morgan cut their ties with them, said, hey, we're no longer offering you banking services. But then JP Morgan came out and said, actually, we were going to do this even without those tweets. That kind of just like sealed the deal. And then from there, Balenciaga also dropped Kanye. And then from there, Vogue dropped Kanye. Then from there, his talent agency, I believe it's CAA, they dropped him, and it was just wild. And then Gap officially today removed Yeezy items over rappers, like his remarks. So Gap like going the extra mile. And then Adidas was the big one. And the reason I'm saying it was the big one, not really so much for like the social sentiment of it. I mean, they're all kind of like big deals. But check this out. Adidas's decision also cost Ye his billionaire status. Forbes estimates that without the Adidas deal, his net worth has dropped to $400 million, which comes from his music catalog, real estate, and his 5% stake in ex-Kim Kardashian's shapewear company, Skims. Forbes valued his Adidas deal as adding $1.5 billion to his net worth. Adding $1.5 billion to his net worth? Gonzo. Do you know how big of an F up that is? Do you know how big of a screw up that is? And what's crazy is a couple of days ago, he was doing some sort of, I guess, interview podcast type of a thing where he was daring Adidas. He's like, nah, they're not going to cut me. Nothing's going to come of it. Well, it looks like they did come from it. And even Adidas, they hate how this is transpiring so much. They're willing to cut it. Kanye and the deal and whatever everything else is in between at a massive loss to them. Not as big as to Kanye, but still a big loss to Adidas. Adidas said this would have a short-term negative impact of up to $250 million, 250 million euros, 246 mil on net income in 2022 due to the high seasonality in the fourth quarter. So they're basically saying, we don't care. We will take the $250 million hit right now to just be completely done with this guy. That is insane. And this just kind of shows that in a certain sense, you can't just go around saying this crazy, crazy stuff, because it's going to come at a big cost. And what's tough about this situation is it does get into the world of mental health. Like, obviously it does. This is not the linear, reasonable, grounded mental path of a person. Obviously, in the slightest sense, do I agree with what he said? Absolutely not. Absolutely 100% against it. But with this, I think with the next step of where we're like, hey, you can't say that. Financially, he's getting hit. Societally, he's getting hit. Then from here, I think it's pretty fair to say, maybe we should get him some help. Obviously, this is not the actions of a grounded person. So I guess my thought on the next level is I hope he and his family, because remember, there are kids involved. I hope somehow this ends up fixing itself and he gets the help that he needs, because this is the story, the narrative of a man completely spiraling. And it's one thing if it was exclusively him, but with him and his status and his reach, it impacts so many more people. And my mind first goes to his kids. Absolutely ridiculous story. I wanted to let you know about the dollar signs and the finances connected to all of this, and obviously your thoughts on the story in general.